Why can we not do things? Pain.
Just another day of being a Baltimore Ravens fan. Welcome back to the James and Dame Show. I'm Josiah.
And I'm Will.
And today we're going over free agency recap. Because chaos has ensued.
It was a crazy free agency. Quite crazy.
Yeah. It was pretty wild, I'm not gonna lie. Mostly because a certain NFL team from the AFC decided to goof around a little bit.
Are we referring to my team?
Maybe.
Do we want to we can start with my team. We can start with them because I have put so
He has
much
many opinions.
I've put so much thought into this because it's such a convoluted topic. Breaking down what happened first, which was obviously the trade of Max Crosby to the Ravens for two first rounders, one this year, one next year. And then, everyone had thought that was in the books. And then, what was it? Tuesday, so the day after free agency, the legal tampering period opens up. The Ravens come out and say that they are backing out of the trade, which a lot of people didn't even know was possible. But because it was prior to the new league year and the main thing that is at least being used as the reason as to why they backed out was for a trade to go through, the team gets to do their due diligence to make sure everything is up to code before it's finalized. And one of those is the player's physical, which was Max Crosby getting his physical. And it's not as simple as a lot of people say he failed his it's not as simple as failing or not failing. He went through his physical with the Ravens training staff and the team doctors, and they had noted some concerns that went to the higher ups in the organization, and organization thought, we're a little concerned about this. And on top of that, Trey Hendrickson, who at this point, you're over 24 hours into the legal tampering period and he's still on the market, they go, maybe we would be okay backing out of this, getting our first back, and going out and getting Trey Hendrickson. And so they do. Now there's a lot of talks about how it might not actually be anything with the medical staff, because they had been made aware that he was, recovering. He was listed by his surgeon to be on track and everything. It's a mess, but Ravens back out of it. And I just want to say off the bat, what is frustrating isn't even the fact that it's like, oh, we don't get Max Crosby. Max Crosby would have been great. It was a high ask price for 2 first rounders. And it's like, okay, we give Max Crosby back and we get our 2 first rounders back. And it's like, that's kind of fair. You go and get Trey Hendrickson, who's not Max Crosby, but he's still Trey Hendrickson. And it's like, I don't hate that. The one and the only problem with this isn't actually there's issues on top of it, but just centered around Max Crosby itself, it's not an issue of the fact that we don't have Max Crosby. The issue is oh, we're going to actually make a big move here, and we're going to commit to like making an aggressive move. And then it just seems like the organization got, a lot of people have said it, is they just got cold feet and backed out. And it's like, I like, again, it's not the worst thing to not like to get those first rounders back and not get Max Crosby, where there is some concern, but it just makes it feel like the organization, they've kind of made themselves the butt of a joke, and they don't feel like they can be taken seriously because of this. And it doesn't seem like they're ready to be aggressive, where it's like you made this aggressive move and then you backed out, and it's like, I liked to see it because it was, we're doing something aggressive to go win. Now, my one and only problem with it is just that you made this big deal about the trade, back out, and it just makes them seem cowardice, which isn't a great look. Again, I'm perfectly
Nope.
happy getting the picks back and going, hey, let's keep those two first rounders and make good players out of those. And, try and keep the window open. I mean, it's Max Crosby. He is a big game changer, but it's just, again, my issue is not as much not having Max Crosby as much as it is the backtracking after being so aggressive. It's like, if you're going to be aggressive, commit. And that's my problem with it, because just commit to it. If you're going to it's a pretty win-win situation. Max Crosby for 2 firsts. I think that's a pretty fair trade. Again, you got the surgery concerns and everything with him, but it's Max Crosby, like one of the more underrated edge rushers, which is crazy because he's an absolute monster, but he's like definitely top 5, maybe top 3 edge rushers in the league. And I don't know. My 2 cents is that the frustration is not that we don't have him, but just why we don't have him, barring what we did. So there's the Ravens fans' opinion on the matter. At least that specifically. I know. I'm sure you'll have a different view on it, just because. Well,
Not a Ravens fan, but
not a Ravens fan, but also not probably wasn't like trying to get every single detail of this to try and figure out what my organization is doing. So that's what I've been.
Yeah. Okay, so here's my opinion. Ravens have screwed over not just themselves but multiple franchises right now. What was it? Colts were trying to get Trey Hendrickson. Washington was trying to get either or. Raiders don't know if they can pay Max Crosby if he stays a Raider. Dallas was in the equation for Max Crosby, but it didn't end up going that way. You guys screwed over so many teams with this debacle too.
Okay. Listen here, though. First of all,
no. I like the aggressiveness. I'm just saying that,
but we didn't screw anyone over, because the Raiders have said that they would still deal Max Crosby for the same value if someone were to go out for him. No one has. So that's not on us. That's the teams that are interested not meeting the asking price, first of all. Second of all, the Colts had over 24 hours to get Trey Hendrickson. They didn't give up the money for him. And admittedly,
they were actually dealing with the money by the time that Hendrickson got to Baltimore.
I mean, yeah, there's also rumors that came out that the Ravens were trying to get Trey Hendrickson and Max Crosby, so...
Yeah, I did hear that. That would have been a terrifying
I mean, hey, there would
duo.
be it would be a much needed change from where we'd been at kind of the years past, but like it, the Ravens screwed over the league. It's like I don't really buy into that. Where it's you know you can still go get Max Crosby if you want, but you're not. You could get Trey Hendrickson. He was there for a while, but you didn't. These teams made their choices, and again, a lot of it comes from fans who aren't like. I think the teams themselves are kind of already aware of what the situation is, and the fans are just like yelling at each other. Um,
Fair.
but I think, I mean, and broadening the scope because again, Max Crosby is probably like the biggest headline or one of the biggest headlines of the
Yeah.
free agency. Um, but like broadening the scope, the thing that really frustrates me beyond just Max Crosby is after like the Max Crosby trade made. I'm like, oh cool. They don't really do much the first day, and I'm like, oh, I mean, they signed John Simpson, kind of try and bolster the O line, and it's like cool. I guess we did something, but we have Max Crosby, and then you pull out on Max Crosby, and it's like, okay, now we're kind of screwed because we've done nothing except this is what hurts is they made first 24 hours, made little to no moves, eventually backed out of Max Crosby, and you saw Draymond Jones, Alohi Gilman, Tyler Linderbaum, Patrick Ricard, David Ajabo, Charlie Kolar, Jordan Stout, Isaiah Likely, Keaton Mitchell, and Daniel Falele all leave. They have they're going to have one of the most massive turnovers, and they've brought in like two starting caliber players. Maybe
Yep.
like I mean, we went out and got Jalen Hawkins. That's something, but at the end of the day, it's not that we didn't end up with Max Crosby. It's not that we paid Trey Hendrickson a lot of money. It's not that it's the culmination of you lost all these players, didn't get really anyone to replace them, and you kind of Trey Hendrickson's great. He's not Max Crosby, and it feels like a downgrade. And then on top of it, you feel like your organization is a laughing stock. So, which at the end of the day, we see how the team does. If they go out and win, if they do well this year, it's not gonna matter. But
Yeah, but if it blows up over your faces, it's not gonna look pretty.
no, at the end of the day, it's gonna be what can the coaches, new coaching staff, and everything do with this team. A team I do want to look at who they didn't make. It's funny because they actually made some really good moves, yet it doesn't feel like enough. Uh, and that's gonna be the Bengals. Speaking of Trey Hendrickson, um,
Yeah.
they extend Orlando Brown Jr. 3 years, 32 million. They bring in Boye Mafe from the Seahawks, 3 years, 60 million. They bring in Jonathan Allen, 2 year, 26 million, and Brian Cook, 3 year, 40 and a quarter million. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, these are three starting caliber players, and they're pretty good players. You move on from Hendrickson, Joseph Asai, Geno Stone, Noah Fant, Volson. And it's like the only like major contributor that you moved on from was Hendrickson, and you bring in
Yeah.
Mafe, who's younger.
Yeah.
They're good moves, like they're pretty solid. But the defense was so bad that it doesn't. I look at this and go, is it enough though to fix the defense? I don't know. And there's just
Yeah.
so oof. I mean, I'll give props where props is due. I do like the moves they did make. Um, Obviously they had to say goodbye to some guys, but they're not huge losses.
No, not in the
It's
long run. No.
it's just it doesn't feel like enough. It's like it's three like pretty solid like strong signings, Well, I would say two. Jonathan
Yeah.
Allen's getting up there. He's not the same, but he could be a game changer. Those three guys, pretty big. The issue is that you're talking about the league's worst defense last year by like, I say by a landslide, but there was also the Cowboys. But still, one of the
Yeah,
worst
that's fair.
one of the worst defenses that we've seen. It's definitely a step in the right direction. I'll give them that.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is. Yeah, it's
Uh,
just in my opinion, I kind of agree with you. Like, it doesn't seem like they did enough because
and they're
they
good
did get like the
players.
good players. Yeah, they're good players. Brian Cook, Mafe, Allen, like they're still good. You're going to be your new key pieces on the defense, but obviously they're going to have to do really well in the draft to even improve that defense. Still, I think the issue is, and I think you and I can agree on this, is that it's not just a defensive thing; it's also a coaching thing.
Hmm.
Who's their head coach? Oh, I don't know. Probably this guy who just can't manage a game clock or manage a team like this. Like, their offense is impeccable. The moment they get a defense, they're set. Like, that's literally all it is. The Bengals are still a decent team when they have the pieces and when they have a competent coaching staff. It's just with this free agency, they're getting on the right track, but they have a lot of ground to make up after, you know, whatever the last couple years were. So
I
I
I
don't know.
I love the saga that is. This is kind of going back to the Ravens a little bit, but the thing where is, oh no, Joe Burrow has to play T.J. Watt, Myles Garrett, Max Crosby each 2 times a year at least, and it's like he's gonna die. Max Crosby trade is off, and Joe Burrow's like, I'm saved, and then Trey signs, and he's like, Trey, no, and
Yeah.
it's such a like it's such a funny meme. So many people are like, Joe Burrow might retire. He might, and I really hope he doesn't, obviously. But
No,
the
please. I do not
the
want another Dan Marino and
Andrew
Andrew Luck
Luck,
kind of situation.
but I will say the jokes are funny. I love to
They are
indulge in
funny.
them, and it's like poor Joe Burrow is like, man, O line really like he needs to come away with a new O line, or not even a new O line, an improved O line,
A new
and
a new
an
coach.
a
A
coach would
new
help
coach.
a lot,
A new
and
coach. The f-
a competent defense. And it's like, yeah, that team's. I mean, when you have Joe Burrow, anything like you don't know where they're gonna end
Anything's
up,
possible. Yeah.
but
They're always going to be in contention to a degree. So
yeah. Moving on, I like looking at the Browns, just working around the AFC North. Browns didn't do a whole lot. They traded for Titus Howard. Wasn't I mean, it's a move. It's actually the other side of this that has more implication. They signed Zion Johnson, and Elton Jenkins, and then they also signed Quincy Williams. But most part, it looks like they're really working on the O line.
yeah, for the most part,
Monken really wants his O line, I guess. There's
I guess.
because what they made 4 O line moves, and total moves that they made 8 moves, and half of them were O line. So
Yeah,
I
they were O line.
you did stuff. Uh, I
Yeah,
think the defense is gonna continue to slowly deteriorate. They got a lot of helpful pieces, like rookie pieces. Obviously, Schwessinger last year was very good, but this is another team where it's like the coaching kind of is probably going to be what determines this. Also, who's your quarterback, and they have no receivers, but here we are.
no
Uh,
receivers. Yay!
but I think the team that honestly kind of like smash. I would say smashed free agency, but they did pretty well. Surprisingly, is the Steelers. You bring in
They did to
Rico,
an extent. I agree.
so it's a lot. There's a lot of substituting here. They lose Kenneth Gainwell. He goes off to Tampa
Yep.
Bay. They bring in Rico Dowdle. Personally, I like
He's
the
pretty
move.
good.
I like the move. He had a really good year.
It's a good move.
Had a good year with the Panthers, and he rejoins McCarthy where he had played so well with him in Dallas. Um, you lose Calvin Austin, who's kind of like your gadget slot guy. You bring in Michael Pittman,
Yeah.
who is like, hey, pretty good.
Hey.
You actually have a 1-2, a pretty good 1-2 combo with Metcalf and Pittman. They lose James Pierre. He goes and signs with the Vikings, and they bring in Jamel Dean, who is a little bit more experienced and maybe like a little bit more of an upgrade. I think Pierre had more long term upside. And then they go ahead and they grab Jaquan Brisker and Darnell Savage for kind of safety depth
Yeah,
and
pretty
improvement.
much.
This, and then they went and extended Cam Hayward, which I have very mixed bag on.
Yeah, I thought Cam Hayward would probably retire after this season, but
There,
here we are.
it's just holding on so long, and again, like he's a good player, but the issue is they give him 2 years, 32.25 million contract, and it's like, yeah, he's a good vet, so that's kind of what you have to pay, but also at the same time, it's like reset, like come on, Pittsburgh, reset. Or don't. Or don't.
I don't know. I don't know. Don't tell me what to do.
But Pittsburgh, I think they did make some pretty good moves. At the end of the day, the thing is that's going to kind of hold them back, though, is out of all of that mentioned, nothing about a quarterback because we still don't know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. And
yeah, because he likes to drag this out for forever.
And this is a thing where if he doesn't make, he could screw the Steelers over if he doesn't come back, because who's going to be their quarterback?
See, he's doing the same thing like he did last year, where he's holding out on purpose until he gets everything that he wants, and then he'll cooperate.
I will say
that's how Aaron Rodgers works. That's how he works.
I will say they do have Will Howard on roster, who some players on that
he
team
hasn't had any much experience in the
NFL.
NFL.
He doesn't, and this is why it's such a mixed bag. Is like the Michael Pittman move, the Cameron Hayward move, Jamel Dean, all these getting Brisker and Savage, who are just like vet safety. It's like, oh, you're actually putting together a team that could potentially go and make a run. You know, like this is putting together a pretty decent roster. Obviously, the Steelers have struggled with O-line for like a decade, but beyond that, like this is a pretty solid team. But you don't even know if you're going to have a quarterback to make a run, or if you're going to have a quarterback who is, you know, you're just figuring out if he even is a starting caliber quarterback. And it just
you don't know.
It's such a bold move to go so hard on like, hey, we can make the Super Bowl when you don't even know who your quarterback's gonna be. So
yeah, that's my concern in general with the Steelers, is that like they do bring in good players, don't get me wrong. I do like the Pittman and the Rico Dowdle thing. I'm not super high on Jamal Dean as much, but I still think, looking at everything, it's still a pretty decent free agency for the Steelers. My concern is coaching and literally the quarterback.
We also have, I mean, to move through some of the ones who aren't as big, the Dolphins. They went out on Malik Willis, and that's
they did.
Other like they got that, and then other than that, they are paying players to not play for them. Is essentially what they're doing. Between Tua, Bradley Chubb, and Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. I kind of feel bad for Dolphins fans. I'm not gonna lie.
It's just
a little bit.
It's just the way Miami is. It's just the Dolphins. It's the way they are.
Yeah. I mean, here's the they have potential for the future if Willis turns out to be who they think he will be. They have a longer term option, I guess.
That, but
but it's not. It doesn't seem long term.
well, what you have is you have Malik Willis and Devon
Yeah,
Achan and Jalen Waddle.
Waddle.
Future Will here again. Yes, Jalen Waddle has been traded to the Broncos. Some pretty solid compensation. First, a third, and a pick swap in the fourth. But the Dolphins give up their number one threat, and the Broncos gain a major piece to bolster their receiver room. But what the Dolphins are doing, we still don't know. Huh? You didn't. This is not gonna fix your team. I mean, they brought in Ajabo and Uche on the edge.
Yes, they did.
They brought in Tolbert and Atwell to help a little bit in the receiving game, but this is just the Dolphins are back to like. This feels like the Dolphins are back to tank for Tua era.
Yeah.
Which maybe that's what they do, and maybe you get Malik Willis a chance, but like. I don't know why you go so. I don't know. That organization is back to being back to being a dumpster fire. They had a couple. They had a couple years.
Yeah.
But
I will say this though, Brian Flores was right. Shouldn't have gotten Tua.
I do want to address. I think it's so funny looking at the Jets.
Okay, I was hoping we were going to go to the Jets soon because I was itching to talk about this stuff.
I graded quite a few teams on their free agency moves, and listen, some of the moves I'm okay with, like the T'Vondre Sweat move. I actually kind of like it.
Good.
I mean, you give up Jermaine
It
Johnson,
was good.
but you get an interior guy. You go out, you sign a right guard or left guard, and Parham. You get an Ekbari Osai on either edge. Bring in Anyamata and Demario Davis, a decent signing. Nashawn Wright for 5.5, who I think is underrated. And I'm like, that's pretty good. You keep Breece Hall around. You bring in Fitzpatrick for cheap. You trade for him for cheap. He only cost a seventh, but extension is not as cheap.
Nope.
They somehow, okay. It's the trading of quarterbacks that has me scratching my head. You traded for Geno Smith and a seventh for a sixth rounder. Geno Smith was probably a couple days away from being cut and free reign. Why? But then they turn around
because it makes no sense.
But they bring him in and then they turn around and trade Justin Fields away. I'm like, okay, cool. You know what? Cool. That's completely fair. He was not going to be, I don't think he was going to be the starter. Fair.
Nope.
You got a seventh for Justin Fields, which means you value Justin Fields less than Geno Smith. Admittedly.
Absolutely crazy.
Admittedly, Justin Fields did not play well for you. Justin Fields is not towards the tail end of his career, having one of his worst seasons when he's been horrible for a majority of his career. Obviously, Seattle, he was good, but like Geno's, I just the logic doesn't. They could have gotten. I think they could have gotten more for Justin Fields because
I feel like they could have.
And it's so interesting him going to the Chiefs as a backup is just like,
I know, that's so weird.
It's such a head scratcher. They've made some good moves that I think honestly the Jets just we're making all of the moves. All of the moves. Good, sure. Bad, yes. Well, some of them will work
scratchers,
out.
Yes.
And like they lost Quincy Williams. They lost Elijah Vera Tucker, Jermaine Johnson. They're all gone, and it's like they lost some good players. No. Potentially got some good players in return. This organization hurts my brain on a daily.
You should ask a Jets fan.
I would hate to bring up a sore topic in the team they root for. looking around though, some of the other teams. I mean, a lot of teams made moves. We saw the Texans obviously trade for David Montgomery, splitting up Sonic and
Mm-hmm.
Knuckles, and then
Rip Sonic and Knuckles.
move on from Titus Howard and Juice Scruggs, which is like, okay, who's
Yeah.
gonna block? They went out, re-signed Evan Brown, Trent Brown, and then got Braden Smith, which I think was actually half decent, but it doesn't
It's not
quite
bad.
feel like enough. They go out, they get Reed Blankenship. I think he's an underrated safety, so I think their defense is going to continue to be scary. But again, your offense ain't going anywhere with CJ Stroud behind that line.
No.
I would like to. There are teams who have made really good moves that they're worth mentioning.
I have one.
You have one.
I have one.
Is it?
Yeah.
I feel like there's three big ones in the league. But who you got?
I kind of want to talk a little bit about the Panthers a little bit.
Oh, that is not one of the ones
So-
on my radar.
Okay, I know it's not like monumental. It's not like Max Crosby going to the Raiders. That didn't happen. It's like you got Jalen Phillips, big
He
deal.
really
You got,
likes Jalen Phillips.
and then Devin Lloyd, Rasheed Walker. Okay, Kenny Pickett's there.
Yeah, he's a
John
backup.
Mechie, Luke Fortner, Nick Scott. Like you got like pretty decent players, and you re-signed David Moore and Jansen over there. I mean, sure you lost Dowdle and a couple other people, and I think was it one of them retired. I think it was one of the offensive tackles that retired. But overall, the Panthers are like reloading and upgrading a little bit, which is weird to see these days because like ever since 2015, the Panthers have been kind of a mess. Sure,
Yeah.
Cam Newton was there for a little bit longer, but it wasn't for very long. It's weird to see the Panthers making good moves.
Yeah.
And the fact that Bryce Young is going to turn out okay, supposedly. Sure, he's got a lot to work on. And it helps that, when you have a newer coach, you grow and you learn together. It kind of helps.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to kind of see what you think of the Panthers because I kind of graded them pretty high, honestly. I probably put them top 10 in free agency, if not top 5.
I mean, they were kind of a sneaky team. Rasheed Walker, a pretty solid pickup.
Yeah.
But like you mentioned, Jalen Phillips, he was one of the better edges. I mean, there were quite a few good edges in this free agency class, but good pickup for them. That's going to really help their defense. Devin Lloyd, I think, is going to be a really solid piece for him. And it's nothing super fancy, but it is making some moves to kind of make them feel a little more serious. And I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I do think they did a good job. I could potentially sneak them top 5, but I'm not as high on them as some teams who I think just absolutely crushed it. There's some teams that were like, spend all the money is the only way to win free agency, and it's like, well, no. But there are teams who went out and made moves, like a lot of moves, and did pretty well. I think the 3 big ones are Raiders, Titans, and Giants also did pretty well too. I think Saints also got some pretty good pieces, especially with this is news apparently to me, but Travis Etienne, or Etienne
is
because
I'm gonna call him ETN because that's all I know him as.
Apparently
No offense, Etienne.
It's been pronounced wrong his whole career, but Travis, they bring in Fant, they bring in David Edwards, and it's like, okay, revamped run game, bring in Caden Ellis and Julian Black and re-sign Julian Blackman. It's like, okay, they're slowly progressing, but I don't think anyone really can. I also do really like what the Rams have done too. The Rams bringing in Trent McDuffie, signing him to a massive deal, and then bringing in his former teammate Jalen Watson, and then they also re-signed Cameron Curl on top of it, who's been pretty good. And it just is like, it's not a lot of moves, but
They're really good ones.
for a team that really felt like, if their defense was just a little bit better, that because their offense was already so good. But I do think my highest grade does have to be the Raiders, and it's not like a
Fair.
perfect grade, but Jalen
No, but
Naylor,
it's a good grade.
underrated receiver. You get him just south of 12 million a year. Tyler Linderbaum, you pay premium for him, but he's a really good center. And now
He's worth it.
you're into like you have at least 3 really competent and quality linemen. They go out and get Kuntz and Kwity Paye, but you also go out, you sign Nakobe Dean, you sign Quay Walker, you trade for Taron Johnson, you extend or re-sign Eric Stokes, and it's like that. It got a lot of big pieces for their defense, and like I'm like, there's like what can you complain about? You look at what they lost. Oh, maybe they lost something big. You got rid of Geno for a pick somehow. Kenny Pickett's gone. Dylan Parham's gone. It's like, okay, you kind of need a replacement there. Forsyth's gone. Yeah. Like, you didn't lose much.
No.
Yes, there's like kind of the cap concerns. And again, they kept Max Crosby. So,
Yep.
that defense kind of scary right now.
So he's Skelly.
It was a win-win. That trade was a win-win either way. You either keep Max Crosby or you get 2 first-rounders to continue to build that team for like
the future.
They've maneuvered this free agency and have been maneuvering the offseason very well. I just like the only reason I graded them as an A. The only reason why it's not an A+ is because I really wanted them to go out and get someone a little bit bigger as a receiver, bigger name as a receiver. Like Naylor, again, I think he's underrated and I think he's going to be a good contributor. But go out, get Rashid Shaheed, make a move at AJ Brown.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for, really.
So, like,
Shaheed is going to go well there.
I just feel like they're missing. You're going to bring in a quarterback. You're going to have a really, like, a good O-line, a running back that's going to. It's just like, oh, you're in a really good. You're in a really good spot. A really solid receiver alongside him because you already have Brock Bowers. I think would have just put him over the top. But at the end of the day, I still really love what they're doing in the offseason. Got rid of bad, brought in good. Something that was also pointed out by some analysts is not only are they going out and getting good players, they're getting good players from winning teams. Naylor from the Vikings, debatably a winning team. Linderbaum from the Ravens, Dean from the Eagles, Quay Walker from I think he was. I always mix him up with Devin Lloyd. Quay Walker from the Packers. I think he's the one from the Packers. It's like these are teams that win. They have winning culture. This is Taron Johnson from the Bills. It's just they're doing a masterclass on how to rebuild a team in a year. The Titans.
Yes, the Titans are another big one.
Yeah, I think they did a really good job. You bring in Wan'Dale Robinson. They brought in a lot of Giants, former Giants, following Dable to
they brought so many people in.
They did. They're another team that's like swing big, and I think they did
they
did a better job than the Jets.
They definitely did by a long shot.
They
got pieces.
I mean, again, Wan'Dale Robinson, he's a nice gadget player. You pay him a pretty penny to be there, almost $20 million a year. You bring in Bellinger, you bring in Jermaine Johnson in a trade for T'Vondre Sweat, so you build up the edge. And it's like, okay. I like T'Vondre Sweat, but what I love about that move is, oh, we bring in an edge because they lost Arden Key. Arden Key left, went to the Colts. You bring in Jermaine Johnson. It's like, okay, that's a bit of an
Yep.
upgrade, but who's going to play alongside Jeffrey Simmons? Oh, I don't know. How about John Franklin Myers, who is admittedly like, I think T'Vondre Sweat had great upside. John Franklin Myers he's a veteran though. Like he's polished.
Oh,
He's
very much so.
and it's just like, all right, well, maybe him. That'll do the trick. And it's like, so
I'll do it.
you get your edge, you bring in a guy alongside Jeffrey Simmons. And again, who are they working with? Robert Saleh. Who else does Robert Saleh have to work with? He brings in Cordell Flott, who is who was one of the best secondary guys for the Giants last year. You bring in Alontae Taylor, admittedly on a pretty big deal, but he was a pretty younger, exciting corner on the market. And you bring in all these guys for the defense. You get rid of obviously Sweat, but you get rid of Snead, who really didn't do well. Arden Key goes, Sebastian Joseph Day goes, and it's like you lost a few pieces. You replaced them with what feels like at least solid, if not significant, upgrades. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. You got your quarterback already.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know that this is exactly. No, this is actually about how I feel pretty on par for what I had said going into free agency, which is the Titans are the Patriots of last year. You have your
Very
quarterback.
much so. They have so much money to spend right now.
Young quarterback, so much money to spend, and a new coach that actually feels competent. And you go out and you spend big money to turn around as soon as possible. And
yeah,
I
do.
I do like it, and I think there's just so much that happened in the AFC that it's like only touch so much on the NFC, but so much of the NFC was like, the 49ers, they got Mike Evans is like their big thing, but you have injury concerns there. The Cardinals made quite a few moves, but it's like, what is that going to do for you? Nothing huge, really, for a lot of these teams. I guess we have overlooked a little bit of the quarterback carousel though, because I think that's the last super interesting piece of
really. It really is.
Free agency.
I mean, because you have the big names like even the smaller teams, not smaller teams, but the weaker teams from last year, the Saints. They acquired some pieces that were pretty consistent. I mean, we already covered the big three that you mentioned, and the teams that were kind of bad this last year or incompetent have significantly improved in some department.
I wouldn't say all
of them. I wouldn't say all of them, but most of them would.
There's still the Jets. There's still the Jets.
And there's still the Browns.
The Browns, the Dolphins.
Yeah. So some of them still suck. Like I said, I think it all lands on who's coaching, who's their owner, who's their management. There's a lot there. But like you said, quarterbacks. I mean, we talked about it a little bit already. Malik Willis to the Dolphins. Kyler Murray to the Vikings is very interesting. It makes sense because he was a Vikings fan growing up.
It just feels wrong though.
It does. It does feel really weird seeing him in purple. I saw that Photoshop of him. It's so wet.
It's so it just, I don't know. It to me it doesn't feel right. I don't know, but
it's like somebody went back in time and kicked a stone, and this is the timeline we've entered, kind of situation. Because it doesn't look natural either, and the fact that he's going to be competing with JJ McCarthy for the starting role at the Vikings is kind of wild.
It's interesting. It is there's no loss for the Vikings in doing this. You either get
Mm-mm.
a quarterback that's, you get Kyler Murray and he wins the starting job and makes a team that has really good pieces a potential contender again. He doesn't pan out, you're not paying him really anything, or he gets beat out by
No, not
JJ
really.
McCarthy in camp, and JJ McCarthy just actually makes that improvement and he's just a solid vet backup. And it's like there's not really a losing avenue with the acquisition. Um I
What?
think the most likely scenario is he probably starts week 1 because I still
Yeah.
like Kyler Murray. I just the Cardinals organization is not the best.
No. Never have. Never will be.
I think
I don't know.
like
Yeah.
they have like once a decade where they have like a good team and then they go back to being really bad and just a mess. And it's really peculiar. Um
I will
but
say this though.
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if like Murray ends up having not the same, but pretty similar situation where how last offseason we were like, if Daniel Jones loses to uh,
Well, it was
Anthony Richardson,
it was because last year's actually flipped is if Anthony Richardson loses to
or if
Daniel Jones.
Anthony loses to Daniel Jones, yeah, sorry, I flipped them, but I think it's kind of funny because like
Yeah. We
it's a similar situation, but not
it's
entirely.
it's one where it's like the quarterback you don't think is going to win it out wins it out and does actually pretty well, and it's like I was not
Hmm.
expecting that. I think in this scenario that would be if JJ ended up winning the starting job though.
That'd be
But
pretty surprising.
I that's kind of the thing. It's like I want to see JJ get like a bit of a better chance at it because he had a really rough go at it in his first actual year. But also at the same time, I like Kyler Murray, and I think him and Justin Fields that I'm like I want to see these guys actually find teams where they can succeed. And Kyler kind of has that opportunity. Justin Fields does not, oh,
No.
unless we see Patrick Mahomes miss the first few weeks. Then we could potentially see Fields go out, get a chance to prove himself a little, and maybe even hit a trade midseason. But
Maybe. We'll see.
Murray's is definitely interesting. I think I think Atlanta's is
Oh my goodness, yeah.
like it makes so much sense, but at the same time,
Yeah, but it's like
why do
at
they
this
have to?
point you're
They're lefty merchants. They're quarterback lefty merchants. You have Michael Penix, you have Tua, and dipping back into history, they drafted Mike Vick, and it's like, what is with you and lefties?
I don't know.
They have a lefty bias,
But
but
I don't know. It's just it's funny too because they're paying so much money for was it Kirk Cousins. Then they were paying a lot of money for Penix.
I
And then
mean,
now on top of that, now they have
well, so they're not
Tua.
really. They're not. It's
Well,
the same
not they're not
situation.
paying.
Yeah, they're not really
Yeah, they're
paying
not
for
paying
Tua is the
Tua.
thing.
No, but it's
Because
just kind of
Dolphins
funny
obviously
because
pay.
now they have a roster full of well, at least two overpaid quarterbacks
Well,
that
so
have underperformed recently.
you have Kirk Cousins isn't there anymore. He's been cut. They're
No,
still going to be paying
I know.
him,
I'm
but
just yeah, but like
um,
at the moment, yeah,
Penix obviously on still a rookie deal, but he's still concerned. And then you have Tua, who again he's not. The Dolphins are paying Tua, so the Falcons don't have to
yeah,
really. They pay him very little. It's
yeah,
the it's the sacrifice you pay for having to pay Kirk Cousins still. Tua, it's a safe bet. It's similar to Kyler. You bring in a vet to compete against someone who you're not really sure was the guy. And I think this
yeah.
I think this is probably more similar to the Daniel Jones one where it's like Michael Penix. I mean, give Tua some credit. Like he isn't a horrible quarterback. Last year was
No, he's
not
not.
a good year. But
No,
it's not on the level where it's like if Tua went out won the starting job over Michael Penix, it's like, oh, what's going on? It's like, oh, Tua is actually playing well. Like, because we've seen
He's
that
playing good again.
compared to what like Daniel Jones on the Giants, we were like,
There's no
this
way.
guy won a starting job. So
Yeah.
I think Tua and Kyler are in very similar situations. And I think it's good for both the Falcons and the Vikings. Not so great for JJ and Michael Penix, especially Penix, who has to come back from an injury.
Yeah.
But they got veteran competition now. This has been the 2026 free agency recap. We will be coming out with mock drafts pretty soon. We're going to be getting into those fairly soon, as we usually like to start them roughly a month before the draft starts, as things will ramp up. And so we'll get to that soon, and can probably expect those coming out as maybe one other video before then. But thank you so much for joining us for our breakdown of free agency. It's been a fun time, a bit chaotic for us trying to keep up with everything, but we always enjoy a little bit of chaos. So we look forward to seeing you guys in the next video, and have a good one.
See you.
Bye.